Welcome to Analyst Talk with Jason Elder. It's like coffee with an analyst, or it could be whiskey with an analyst reading a spreadsheet, linking crime events, identifying a series, and getting the latest scoop on association news and training. So please don't beat that analyst and join us as we define the law enforcement analysis profession one episode at a time.
How we doing, analysts? Jason Elder here with a special presentation. I just got back from the Carolina Crime Analysis Association conference where I was the keynote speaker. So I want to give my perspective on that experience, give an overall summary of the conference, as well as get some perspective from the attendees. Stick around to the very end of this episode as we have a very special presentation for you. So starting out with the basics, this is the annual conference for the Carolina Crime Analysis Association. It was held in Wrightville Beach, North Carolina, just outside of Wilmington, March 25th through the 28th. There was about 100 attendees there. Most of the time there was 2 sessions going on at once. It was a great mix of technical skills classes and lecture giving practical advice. A lot that I thought the attendees could take home and develop their skills and abilities. Food. Man, it was great. Plenty of coffee every morning and snacks. They had catered lunches between Chick-fil-A and Chipotle, snacks throughout the day. They did a really good job of keeping things moving, nighttime events. There was a sunset cruise and just plenty of opportunity to network. It's a smaller group than what I'm used to. This is only the second time I've been to a regional only conference. Didn't have very much experience with that, but I thought the location was great. It was right on the beach. They had mentioned that the hotel is set up so every room faced the beach. And they were not kidding. Every room faced the ocean. It was great waking up every morning to a sunrise from the east and that sun coming over the ocean. As for my keynote, lots of pressure with the keynote. This was the first time I ever gave a keynote, and so I was feeling a little bit of the pressure. I thought my keynote went well. I started the keynote with my normal, thank you for joining me. I hope many aspects of your life are progressing. And I almost broke character at that moment because I saw so many faces light up with a smile when I did that. So there was obviously plenty of people in the crowd that had heard that a time or two before. I want to just quickly go over in the summary the 7 topics that I went over, pieces of advice for those that were in attendance. They are: ask questions, develop soft skills, failure can be a feeling, listen to criticism, you belong, reputation, what does the department think you do, and then finally look back and smile, which so much part of Analyst Talk is reminiscing and looking back on one's career, and I thought that was appropriate to end with that piece of advice. I ended the presentation with a wrap-up, but not just any wrap-up, a wrap of the wrap-up. And of course, I did not do the wrapping. I had special help, special assistance from Michael Jackson of Sugar Land, Texas. Michael and I had been talking about doing a wrap for a couple of years now. I contacted him a couple months back, let him know that I was going to be the keynote speaker at the CCAA conference. And I said, can you do a wrap for me? And to his credit, I gave him a couple lines of summary, a couple of topics of what I wanted the wrap-up wrap to be. And before I knew it, he had the lyrics and he had a first draft with music. It was great. He messed up on the very end of the first take, or he would have nailed it on the first take. So he went back and nailed it on the second take. But it was just him and his daughter, in a closet with two iPhones recording the rap. And I ended up sending it to Scott from the Rough and Tumble, who does the music for the podcast. And Scott Scott said, "Yeah, that's pretty good considering what they were using and where they were doing it." So thank you so much to Michael Jackson for helping me out in that situation. It was a great ending to my keynote. That is the special presentation at the very end, so stick around to hear Michael's rap. So I think overall, I'm happy with the keynote speech. Got a lot of compliments, got a lot of head nods throughout giving the speech. I'm glad it's over, kind of thing. But it was a great experience, and I am honored. So I want to thank everyone on the board for CCAA for thinking of me and inviting me. It is quite an honor to be keynote speaker for the conference. Another presentation that I wanted to highlight is Cassie Langdon's presentation on presenting, on public speaking. She did a lot of hands-on exercises in her presentation, which was really great. Had us pair up, introduce one another, had people read different things, enunciate, work on some practical exercises for presenting, and even did some improv stuff where you were just given some quick stats and then you had to give a 30-second, 60-second presentation on that information. So she asked for volunteers, but of course, as you can imagine, not many people volunteered to speak and do such improv. So she had a raffle. So this was a raffle situation where most people did not want to win the raffle. And I got picked at the very end. And man, right there, that's what I need to work on. I kept connecting all my sentences with basically a run-on sentence, and this, and this, and this. So even I was really nervous to go up there. A lot of pressure. I thought everybody expected me to be perfect, and certainly I was not in that situation. But so I need to work on my ands, and I need to definitely work on my improv skills. I want to go on now and get some perspective from the conference, from the attendees. There was a wide variety of attendees there. There were students there, there were student posters that they presented at the conference during a session. There's lots of new analysts, experienced analysts, there's detectives, there's sworn, there's supervisors. So I wanted to take an opportunity and just ask everybody what they got out of this week's conference. All these recordings were as of Thursday, the March 27th. I want to start with Special Mitchell, who is an intel analyst from Wake County Sheriff's Office. And then I want to move on to another analyst in attendance, Andrew Reese. I want this segment to finish up with Daniel Miller, who is a student from UNC Charlotte.
Okay, Special. We're here at the CCAA conference. What has this week been like for you so far?
It's been very eye-opening to see. I think it's always interesting to see that we all kind of have the same struggles or things we're trying to get over at our own agencies. It's good to see that you're not like alone in that battle, because it's easy to feel like, oh my gosh, my superiors or supervisors, they don't listen, they don't understand, I don't have any direction. But then when you get around other people, you see like, okay, well, I guess this is it's sad to say, but I guess it is kind of normal. But it's good to see that. And then I've, of course, been enjoying the classes. I enjoy being able to get new ideas and take them back and like see what analysts are doing or conversations they are having with their supervisors and what I can use or try to use when I get back to work.
Okay, this is your second CCAA conference, so you have a little bit of experience here. Last year to this year, what are your thoughts?
Well, last year I was actually volunteering, so I was a little more involved in setting up and the flow of the day a little bit. But I think for me this year is more, I guess it seems like more close-knit, like people, you can see people engaging more. It's a smaller crowd, so it's like we just all seem like we're networking a lot more and enjoying each other and conversations a lot more than last year. I feel like it was a bigger crowd and we were kind of just all over the place, and it was easy to kind of isolate yourself, versus this year I feel like we're all kind of just jumping in conversations with someone else or talking to your neighbor more when you're sitting down. So
Andrew, we're here at CCAA. Could you just give me your full name, agency?
Sure. Andrew Reese. I'm with the City of Roanoke. I'm the senior crime analyst there at that police department.
And I'm just looking to get your impressions of the week so far.
Outstanding, really high quality content, great speakers, a lot of good takeaways, both for the crime analyst or intel analyst as well as supervisors who might be in charge of those units. So really high quality stuff so far.
Yeah, and you're coming in as a supervisor.
Yes,
so
sir.
What are some specific things that you're getting out of this week?
One of my takeaways was some of the professional writing guidelines and critical thinking ideas that were discussed in one of the lectures yesterday. So really good building blocks for my team. So I have a very diverse team, some of which come in with a very strong technical background. Others are more traditional analysis minded, and like anybody else, there's always room to grow. And so I was really impressed with some of the things we discussed in those critical thinking classes and how to translate that into the professional environment, especially when it comes to building a more technical product, writing a little bit better, a little bit more scientifically, a little bit more unopinionated or neutral, so to speak, and providing a really quality product in that way.
Okay, I am here with Daniel Miller. Daniel, what are you getting out of this week?
So, as a student that goes to University of Charlotte, I'm getting a lot out of this actually from the student's perspective. We don't have a lot of like crime analytics at our university. Our criminal justice majors really consist of just like the policing, course. We don't get that crime analytic perspective. So going here to see like something so new and so mind-opening is actually really crazy for me personally. Meet other crime analysts in their field, like they've been in their field for a minute, and actually getting to understand what they do and actually actually get some insight, learning Power BI, having that master class, also learning Microsoft Access, stuff like that, getting to know the journeys and how they got there was really mind-opening for me, because it's like, of course, like a lot of people don't know what they're going into, so getting that journey, getting that perspective, like how you got there, like making sure you know what you're on the right track, and like learning like what can I do to do better in my career and also in the future. So like learning from their mistakes are also helping me as well to get a better heads up and like of everything to do in the future.
So I think it's great perspective from them as analysts looking to get into the field, what they got out of this week, and listening to everybody else, knowing that they're not alone and they're going through similar frustrations, learning valuable tips to bring home with them. This next section, I want to include attendees that are supervisors or sworn. I want to finish up with Michelle Covington, who is the first CCAA president, and to finish up with her perspective in this section.
Give me just your full name and your agency, please.
So, Carrie Griffin, and I'm a senior intelligence analyst with Atlanta Police Department.
What have you gotten out of this week?
Well, being a presenter at this year's conference was a great experience, and also a reminder of how fast crime and the intelligence field is evolving. I could say the takeaways is, just a reminder how AI is changing the game by making it easier to process data, spot patterns, and generate real-time intelligence. Agencies using these tools are seeing quicker results and better predictions. Also, the collaboration is a must. Crime doesn't stop at jurisdiction lines. Analysts are working together more. And this event was the great opportunity for networking. Also, analysts are not just number crunchers. Our role is expanding, and we're expected to provide more insights that influence policy and operations, not just reports. Tech is changing, and every day, actually. And so the tools available to law enforcement are getting more advanced, and we as analysts need to keep up with that. Just as final thoughts, I would say the conference reinforced that staying ahead means embracing technology, teamwork, and strategies. So it was great to connect with other analysts, share insights, and see where the field is headed.
It's interesting. You're coming from Atlanta,
Yes.
large city. You're probably one of the largest cities here
Yes.
at the conference, and yet you're mingling, you're networking with a lot smaller agencies, like single analyst agencies there. So you're kind of the big fish in this pond.
Yeah, it was very interesting to see that huge mix, and we'll share basically with the crime trends and everything they're seeing, and comparing what we have in the city as well, and also talk about the tools that we're using.
What is your name and your agency?
My name is Danny Martin. I work for the New Henry County Sheriff's Office.
We're here at the CCAA conference, and I'm just wondering, what are you getting out of this week?
Well, I'd say the first thing I got out of was the point that you brought up for analysts just to not be afraid to ask questions, or just asking questions in general. It's easy for me to do because I am sworn and I have a good rapport with our detectives, both in narcotics and general investigations, that I can just go then ask them questions and they don't have an issue with giving me the answers or giving me the more specific detail that I need when I'm trying to find information for them. I think analysts might be hesitant because they don't maybe have that relationship. They don't have that rapport with those detectives. So they might be a little standoffish. They might not know how to approach those detectives. So what I would say is just get out and go be with them. Don't be afraid to ask questions. You're trying to make their jobs easier. So get all the information you can from them. If they don't have that much to give you, then that's fine. But get everything you can from them and then go do what they're asking for. It just makes your job easier because you know the specifics, and it makes their job easier.
Excellent. And from your perspective, as you said, you were a sworn detective and you're focusing on narcotics. So from that point of view, what value is it that you're gathering from this week?
I like the fact that I'm surrounded by more analysts than I am sworn personnel because, like I said, I am sworn. So my counterparts, they're all sworn detectives, be it vice or general or, major crimes, things like that. I don't get to interact with many civilian crime analyst personnel, so it's a good change of pace. I get to see their side of the fence. I get to see what they're doing on a daily basis. Now, I do some crime analysis, some statistics, stuff like that, but not nearly the level that they do. So it's good to see what they're putting together on a daily basis and the work that they do behind the scenes. The work that they're doing makes the detectives' jobs easier. So it's good to see the other side of the coin.
Okay, I'm with Cannon Fulmer. Cannon, what are you getting out of this week?
Yeah, so I think what I've gotten out of the week the most is the opportunity to network, especially with other analysts here locally in the Carolinas, especially within South Carolina. It's good to just get a pulse of what's going on in the state, especially since I spend most of my time, like a lot of analysts, kind of like trapped in my office, not interacting with other people. So that's been my biggest thing.
This morning there was a panel discussion, and something happened that if I didn't know any better, I would have thought was a setup. But I just wanted to give it from your perspective, since you were part of it. Just tell the audience what happened, because it was perfect.
Okay, yeah. So something funny happened. We had a panel discussion that included Deputy Chief Reese at Cary, North Carolina. And I asked a question at the end, the funny thing is this, I have a weird name, it's Cannon, right? And like I told you when I met you, when I introduced myself to people and I'm like, hey, my name's Cannon, and they say, oh, okay, I know they didn't hear me. If they say what, then I know, oh yeah, that's right, you heard me correctly, my name is Cannon, I'm named after a weapon. And so, at any rate, after I asked the question, Deputy Chief Reese says, wow, you came at me like a cannonball. And everybody started laughing because a lot of people knew my name, so I had to announce that my name was Cannon at that point. But yeah, that was totally unscripted.
Yeah, and I loved how she just gave you like an air high five just to say like, yeah, we're on the same page. But it definitely was, as I said, if I didn't know any better, I would have thought it was scripted.
Yeah, it was funny. And what I asked about is something I'm really interested in, that I feel like there's kind of two conflicting movements right now in law enforcement relevant to crime analysis. And one is this move towards real-time crime centers. And the other is something like stratified policing that Deputy Chief Reese was talking about, which is almost definitionally strategic, like in its aims. And I see a lot of tension right now because analysts are being pulled in those two different directions at the same time. And at some agencies, it's the same analyst that has those responsibilities. So that's really interesting to me. And I'm curious how like leaders and other analysts are navigating that particular issue right now.
Michelle, can you give me your full name and your agency?
Yes, Michelle Covington. I'm at Upstate Crime Analysis Center at the University of South Carolina Upstate.
Michelle, what has this week been for you?
It's been amazing to see. We've come a long way. It's been 5 years since our first meeting, which was kind of a smaller symposium, and the group's come such a long way. It's so dynamic. The training is really varied. It's great.
As you being the past president and first president, just talk a little bit about what CCAA has accomplished from the beginning till now.
Yeah, well, when we started, there was an online survey I did, and I literally went through the IACA directory for people in South Carolina. Quickly, I started hearing from people in North Carolina, and they said, we've tried a few times to start something. It hasn't taken off, but there was interest. So we tried again, and we started putting together what we could and, paid a couple things out of pocket, had a lot of help along the way. And the North Carolina Gang Investigators Association partnered up with us, and they said, hey, when we started, we were broke. Come to our conference. We'll give you a room. So we just kind of went from there.
All right. And is there one particular aspect of getting this association off the ground that sticks with you that you're the most proud of?
I think it was really kind of a natural grassroots sort of effort in the beginning. We had some sense of what we wanted to do, which was to support analysts in the Carolinas and also to grow analysis in the Carolinas. But other than that, we really weren't sure where we were going. So it's been fun to watch all the growth and development. I can't take credit for this week or what's going on now, but it's really fun for me to come back and get to watch and think about where we came from.
So as I mentioned with that part with Cannon, if I wasn't there to observe it, I would not have believed it. It wasn't a setup. It was so funny that she that was her response about being a cannonball. It was just really perfect how they were in sync, but didn't have any idea who one another were prior to him asking that question. It's also interesting to get Michelle's perspective as someone that was part creating CCAA, to get her perspective on how far the association has grown and where it is today. I want to finish up this section on perspectives with the CCAA board. Obviously, when you're on a board and you're putting on a conference, there is a lot of planning and preparation that goes on before the week of the conference.
Okay, Amanda, we're here. It's Thursday at the CCAA conference. You've made it all this way, all this planning and preparation that your team has done. So just how are you feeling at this moment?
Well, at this point, I'm exhausted. However, in a good way, we've had a really exciting week. We actually had just over 100 attendees. We have representatives here from multiple states beyond the Carolinas, so the association continues to grow. And I think we accomplished our goal, which was to provide a blend of both technical masterclasses on hard skills as well as presentations on soft skills, such as critical thinking, public speaking, and so forth. So I think we've been able to mix that. We've got representatives here from the private sector, the public sector, and we also had students be able to interact with those groups and provide updates on their research. So we've packed a lot of different stuff into 1 week, but I think it's been a very successful event overall.
How does it feel? We're standing in the ballroom area where the vendors are, and from the moment you came here to do the inspection till now, when you're just almost a day from the conference being completed, from that point till now?
Yeah, I think it's really exciting to see the vision come together. This is our 5th annual conference for this association. We started out where we had basically one vendor several years ago in Winston-Salem, and to now have an entire vendor showroom. It just really shows the growth of this organization and the support from these vendors. They really make this possible. And to be able to have all of that partnership for networking events and some of that interaction, I think is really beneficial.
Yeah, Damien, as VP of Communications for CCAA, it's Thursday, almost all the way done with the conference. How are you feeling at the moment?
Oh, Jason, it's been a great conference. So many attendees here from first-time analysts. We have some students here as well that are taking it all in, and all these different topics that we had. To your long-term analysts like myself included, who's been doing it for a while, taking bits and pieces. We've had topics on public speaking, of RGS Pro, next hit predictions. We had a command staff panel that was very helpful as far as the relationship building between analysts and command staff to analysts. So just getting those relationships and also, as you know, Jason, being at a conference, so many relationships are built years from now at conferences where you can count on somebody to reach out, get, a mugshot photo, get some intel, help with a particular project or some sort of software issue that you're having. So it's all about relationships. And I feel like that's what the Carolinas Crime Analysis is all about. So.
All right, Cassie, you're VP of membership with CCAA, and obviously you're part of that big planning committee. So it's Thursday. The conference is almost over. How are you feeling at this point?
I'm feeling really good. There's a lot of stuff we were able to bring to the table this year that's new. We were also allowed to collaborate and bring back some old ideas that have just gone off swimmingly. One in particular is our student poster session. We had 3 student poster sessions this year. They were able to network, show professionals where they're at, what they're learning, their skill set. And it's just such a valuable opportunity for those students to be able to bring up the next generation into our field. So I'm really proud of that. We have a diverse mix of presentations here. So being able to see data-specific courses, working on our soft skills like we just did in public speaking, but also having some Intel-type classes. We had the National Guard here present on cybersecurity threat trends, which I've just not seen anywhere else. So I think it's been a good week.
Deputy Chief Bruner was part of a panel, spoke very highly of you and gave you a lot of kudos. So as you're hearing that talk and you're in the crowd, what was going through your mind?
This is a little bit embarrassing, but I'm very glad to be where I'm at. It did take me a little bit to get to the agency where I do feel like I'm at home and I fit and I have buy-in, and it's been a journey, as the kids say nowadays, but clearly I'm where I'm supposed to be.
I'm here with Kimberly Cummings, VP of Finance for CCAA. Kimberly, all the work and effort that you've done up until this point, how are you feeling?
I am feeling excited. I'm proud of what we've accomplished this year and how well the conference has been. I'm feeling relieved that everything has went smoothly, and I'm excited about the next conference for next year.
All right. Well, you mentioned next year's conference. Is that a secret about where it's going to be, or can you let me know now where it's going to be next year?
We do not know yet. We'll probably send out a survey and look at the top spots and how they work out financially and see where our people want to go.
Interesting to get their perspective towards the end of the conference, to just take a moment to look back, just to take a little sigh of relief and to give their thoughts on everything that they had accomplished with the conference. Great perspective from all of them. Again, thank you to Amanda, Cassie, Damian, and Kimberly. And I almost forgot Caleb Myers, who is VP of Training. Unfortunately, he was unable to attend this week, but he was deeply missed. It is an honor to be the keynote, something that I will think about often and think back and smile as I progress through life. Their overall conference was fantastic. If you get a chance to go to a CCAA conference, I highly recommend it. Smaller venue, practical exercises, technical skills being taught. I think you'll get a lot to take home with you once attending the conference. As I mentioned in the beginning, I want to leave you with Michael Jackson's rap. We believe it's the first crime analysis rap of all time. But without further ado, here it is. Thank you for listening. Until next time, be safe.
Yo. Look, I don't know if I could do this job as an analyst. I feel like an imposter. I don't think I can handle this. I'm too scared to speak when I get in a room, and I don't think they even listen when we meeting on Zoom. My work product sucked. The second wasn't bad. The last one I did, well, I would have chosen Seta. I need to find a way to get on the right track. It's all in my head. Come on, I'm better than that. It's time to walk tall, walk with a little swag, and show all these people what I got in my bag. The clever, witty guy that can show them the path, and looking at crime data, yeah, I can do that. I'll show how it relates to everyday practices. Proactive policing to hand in chief the stats again. Maximum effort, baby, I'm feeling myself. Da-na-na-na-na-na-na. Guess I'm back again. There'll be ups and downs, but don't let the hard days keep beating you down. Don't ever give up, and remember what's true. You got this, friend, and I believe in you.
Thank you for making it to the end of another episode of Analyst Talk with Jason Elder. You can show your support by sharing this and other episodes found on our website at www.leapodcasts.com. If you have a topic you would like us to cover or have a suggestion for our next guest, please send us an email at leapodcasts@gmail.com. Till next time, analysts, keep talking.